and welcome to the update. I'm Michelle Stevenson. Well, the prominent Sydney Jewish leader whose former home was targeted in a shocking anti-Semitic attack overnight says there's an evil at work in this country. The Dover Heights home, once owned by Alex Rivchin from the Executive Council of Australian Jewry, was graffitied while two cars were firebombed in the early hours of this morning. He says Australians need to stand up to the vile hatred being levelled against his community.
There is an evil at work in this country, and we have to recognise that. There are people who are so consumed by hatred that they would seek to burn people because they disagree with their words. And how we respond to things like this will determine the future of our country. I firmly believe that.
The federal opposition, meantime, says the government's new plan to tackle extremism is too little, too late. Labor will spend more than $100 million attempting to de-radicalise people who are at risk of adopting a violent ideology. But the coalition believes far stronger action is needed given the number of recent attacks on the Jewish community. Shadow Home Affairs Minister James Patterson says the new plan isn't enough.
This is what governments do. They have counter-terrorism strategies. They release them and update them periodically. They try new programs, they add new funding. It's just standard business of government. It is not a response to the crisis that we've seen. And because things have got so out of hand, because they've been allowed to get so out of hand, I don't think business as usual is enough.
Israel's Prime Minister has officially agreed to a ceasefire deal with Hamas, paving the way for the return of hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. The country's security cabinet is due to convene later today to officially approve the long-awaited deal. A Queensland TikToker accused of poisoning her one-year-old daughter with unnecessary prescription meds for clicks and likes is seeking protective custody while behind bars. The 34-year-old woman has been remanded in custody until at least the end of the month after facing court charged with poisoning and torturing the young child. And Qantas has been forced to delay flights on one of its most popular routes as debris from a failed SpaceX launch falls back to Earth. The Starship spacecraft broke up just minutes after its launch from Texas, with debris expected to fall in the southern Indian Ocean. The airline delaying some of its flights between Sydney and Johannesburg as a result. Sport and entertainment are next. To sport, and two-time defending Australian Open champion Aryna Sabalenka is through to the fourth round of the Australian Open after a straight sets victory against her unseeded Danish opponent. Alexander Vukic is the only Aussie in singles action on day 6. And Perth Scorchers all-rounder Aaron Hardy has put pen to paper on a 3-year contract extension. In entertainment news now, and Taylor Swift has spoken out about the LA wildfires, saying the suffering, loss and devastation is heartbreaking. The singer also listing a series of charities she's donated to while urging her fans to do the same. Naomi Watts has paid tribute to director David Lynch, who died overnight, aged 78. The Aussie actress taking to Instagram to say her heart was breaking for the man that put her on the map after he cast her in his 2001 flick Mulholland Drive. And Donald Trump has appointed 3 acting heavyweights as Hollywood ambassadors. Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone and Jon Voight are the president-elect's pick to serve as special envoys. He expects them to be his eyes and ears in Hollywood, which he now calls a very troubled place. And that's the latest from the Nova Podcast News Team. We'll have another episode of The Update for you tomorrow. I'm Michelle Stevenson.